Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Ben Mall. If you're watching this, you are in my class, MS402 Arts Integration into the Classroom. So you're either watching this for one of two reasons. One of the reasons might be that you missed a class, the first class, and need to make up this class session. Or you are the new instructor of the class, should something happen to me, and you need to fill in and see what I am talking about, one way or the other. For those of you who are new to me, what I usually do when I first teach a class, this is actually my second year teaching this class, but it's usually a 5-week class, and we only have 2 in person sessions this time with an asynchronous session in between. So I'm kind of doing a refresher course for myself too, as well, in regards to what I'm supposed to be doing for the class here. So I had to make some changes. I had to make some cuts. I had to do some editing. I don't know if we're perfect yet or not, because it's a lot of editing I had to do to get everything condensed into 3 classes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's get right into it, huh? So again, this is MS402. I'm sure a lot of you know how to use Canvas by now, but just to throw this out there, I'm currently in student view for myself, so you should see what I'm seeing in your Canvas. I do use announcements a lot in regards to making announcements to the class, should any kind of problems arise. I want to point out that for the asynchronous session in announcements, I'm going to have 4 videos for the class on Friday available, because we have class on Thursday. And I'm going to have this video that I'm making right here, the asynchronous video. Actually, I should say it's going to be 3 videos. This video, the asynchronous video, and a separate video that goes with the asynchronous video where I'm going to show practices I use inside my own classroom for theater arts stuff that I do with my students. One of the tools that I'm going to talk about is a signing of a contract and drama games that I to use inside the classroom for those who might be interested in that. Just to throw some information out there about myself, I am a theater arts major, so drama is something I'm very interested in, and I try to bring into my classroom when I possibly can. Going on, here's the syllabus. I have it right. Oh, maybe I don't have it up there. The syllabus is right here. Let's zoom in on it real quick. So, visual and performing arts, here's my information. Our class schedule. It says session 2, 12/17. That's going to be asynchronous. We will not be meeting in person at that time. Some TPEs, some dyslexia guidelines, things like that. California Arts Standards, Arts Education Framework, blah, blah, blah. All the discussion about what the TPEs are for inside the classroom. This I'm going to throw out there is not exactly perfect yet. I've put down some TPEs that I think are present inside the class, but I need to kind of take a look and revise it a little bit. For the most part, everything should be up to date there. And our course schedule, which I've gotten pretty much correct. Like I said, I'm trying to cut a 5-week course into a 3-week course. So this might not be exactly perfect. But if you just hear the words coming out of my mouth and my descriptions of what we're supposed to be doing, you should be fine. And the big things that everybody wants to know when they're inside a classroom is, what are the assignments going to be? So when we get into the slideshow, I'm going to really point out what the assignments are going to be, but you kind of see it right here in the syllabus here. And I'm going to go into a much deeper dive into what these are in the slideshow. But the big pieces to know is that there's going to be a lesson plan that's worth 30 points. There's going to be an asynchronous session with a reflection that's going to be worth 30 points. There's going to be an artist practice piece, which is going to be worth, you guessed it, 30 points. And then finally, attendance and participation, which includes exit tickets, 60 points, 20 points each class. And there is an exit ticket for the asynchronous session, just to throw that out there. Okay, so that's the syllabus. Again, I'm going to take a real deep dive into those assignments, which is the top big piece everybody wants to know about in the slideshow. So hold on to your horses if you have any concerns about that. Uh, Helpful links if you're needing some help on Canvas. Some helpful drama games for the classroom. I'm just going to point this out real quick. This is a quick little link to one of my favorite sites that I go to for drama games in the classroom. If you are interested in that, feel free to take a deeper dive into that. But these have great things for movement, characterization, creativity, focus and listening. Lots of different good things to do for your kids if you're interested in drama. So I just want to take a quick moment to point that out. There's the Zoom link, resources for session 1, and then our slideshow right here. All right, so here's our slideshow, and I'm going to zoom this out. This is MS402 Arts Integration, session 1. The agenda, all right? So we're going to have an overview of the assignments. We're going to look at Canvas organization. I already kind of did that. An overview of California state standards for the arts, an overview of California arts education framework, how arts can be used to bridge multiple academic content areas, and cross-disciplinary arts integration. So the first thing I want to point out is the California state standards for the arts. And here's the California state standards for the arts. Feel free to peruse this at your leisure. I only have so much time, and I'm not going to spend that time going through all 227 pages of what the standards are for art. Okay, just to throw this out there, it is quite lengthy, and if if you want to look at it and memorize all this stuff on your own free time, you have at it. But for the most part here, what I'm expecting everybody to do over the course of this period of time for this week we got, because we only got 1 week, is to more be interested in the California Arts Education Framework, all right? Which is, for the purpose of this particular framework, is to guide and support all educators and others engaged in arts education as they implement the 2019 California Arts Standards for public schools. The arts framework contains an overview of the standards that are organized along common concepts and processes shared among all of the arts. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, this particular piece has a lot of great information, and it's important for me to point this one out because during your asynchronous session, you are going to have an assignment related to the California Arts Education Framework. Okay? And I'll have that link in the second slideshow as well for your asynchronous session. But the big piece here that I want to point out is that during the asynchronous session, I'm going to ask you on your own to choose one of these 10 chapters that interests you. So if you are, say, a kindergarten teacher who wants to add elements of dance to a lesson, perhaps, then you want to check out the dance chapter on page 109. Or if you are someone who wants to bring musical components into the class and you're a third grade teacher or something like that, you can do that in kindergarten too, obviously. Well, then page 303 is where you want to go. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of these chapters for the asynchronous session and take a deep dive into it. All right? Now, I will point out that if you look at the, say, dance portion that starts at 109, it ends on page 206. Well, do I expect you to read 100 pages for this particular assignment? No, of course not. Don't be silly. Why would I do that to you? What I do want you to do, if you do happen to choose dance for your particular deep dive, let's see here. What was dance? Dance was 109. So we would scroll all the way down to 109. And just to throw this out there, it's 109 on the bottom of the pages they offer here, not up here where it says 121. So I'm going to go to 109, okay? And here's dance, right? Here's chapter 3, dance. Well, what you're going to do is, you'll skim a little bit. Why dance? Dance is an embodied way of knowing, understands oneself, others, and the world, so on and so forth. And you're going to kind of look at, maybe read some of the stuff. The arts as communication, arts as creative personal realization, blah, blah, blah. You can read and kind of look and so on and so forth. But the big pieces I'm looking for is the vignettes. And for all of us here, one of the top things we're doing with this class is we're asking ourselves, what is this thing we can do with this artistic piece inside of our classroom? And the whole point of this class is to try to bring elements of the art into your classrooms to make more enriching and engaging learning experiences for your students. Now, I've been doing instructor work and practicum supervisor work for about a good 8 years now of my life. I'm a 22-year educator, and one of the first things I always notice about interns, for the most part, and this is for any first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth. Sometimes people never get away from it, but it's very easy to get stuck into pencil and paper mindset, and always having it be pencil and paper, and not adding elements of the arts into your lesson plan. It makes for a boring classroom, right? And one of the things we're trying to do here in this arts integration classroom is bringing aspects of the arts into your classroom to make more enriching lessons where students are becoming more interested into the material that you're covering and more engaged in it through movement, artistic practices, music, exploration of characterizations of people, things like that. So, these vignettes in these particular chapters give ideas as to what you can do inside your classroom to add these components to your class. So, if you are, in this case, a second grade teacher and you wanted to add movement into your classroom, well, here's a little lesson with some ideas in regards to what you can do for your students. And I would want you to really, this is like the big pieces that I want you to read when I ask you to do this piece, because you'll see there's a lot of stuff here in regards to what the teacher can do and how to lead the lesson and talk about movement and things like that. And this is a rather extensive vignette. There's some shorter ones there. I'm going to skim over here. You see, here's another vignette. This one's for dance and cultural context for fourth grade. That might be more up your alley, and that one's a bit of a shorter one. And then you got another vignette for fifth grade, blah, 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 blah. So there's a bunch of vignettes there, right? So when we get to that asynchronous piece where I ask you for this particular half-page reflection, I'm expecting to see some discussion on a vignette or two that you read that you thought might be interesting, that to add some component of that into your classroom. And so that's one of the top key pieces that I really want to touch base on in regards to this particular slide, because one of the things that I'm asked to do as your instructor is to have you guys take a look into the arts education framework and the California state standards and how you're going to incorporate these ideas inside your classroom. And some of the best ways to do that is to read the stories of what other teachers are doing inside their own classroom. They say that imitation, this is the sincerest form of flattery for teaching. That is exactly true. You should be doing your best to steal what you see that everybody's doing good and incorporate it into your classroom. And usually teachers aren't upset if you want to take what they're doing and add it into their class. It's this, like I said, the sincerest form of flattery. Additionally, with the slideshow, there is a video here for cross-disciplinary arts integration. I'm not going to show that here. YouTube has been very picky about what videos you can show or not on their sites. And I've had videos where I do like this, where I've spent the time to upload a YouTube video and then YouTube says, oh, we can't have you show this video because you're showing content from another site. So it's a pain in the booty, not gonna lie. So if you watch this, please pull up the slideshow on your own canvas and click this one at your own leisure so that you can watch the video with this slideshow. There's our schedule. We are only meeting 2 times live in person, 12:12 and 12:19, with an asynchronous session in between session 1 and 3. Please try to do your best to make it to both live sessions. It would be greatly helpful for me if you did that. And, it kind of leads to professionalism, expectations. This is a 2-week course. If your work is late for the second class, we will have to meet after that second class. In that meeting, we will discuss if makeup is possible. Please manage your class scores and your time. Now, for those of you who've had me before, and I've already looked at my class list, and I see that many of you have had me before, I'm a softie. I'm always with you guys. If you need some extra time to complete an assignment, that's A-OK by me, okay? Now, there's 4 main assignments for this class, and there is a show and tell portion for the last class. So whenever I have that last final piece, the usual thing I tell people inside my courses is, please don't be late with your final assignment, because I really want people to share the work that they've done for the final assignment. So if you're going to be late on any other assignments, please make sure it's just not that final assignment, okay? Because I really want people to see that bit. Now, usually if people are late for their work, I usually give them up to a week to make it up on the final class. So for those of you who've had me for 5-week classes, if you have assignments that are late after the 5th week, I usually give you a week after that class to turn things in. This is a 2-week course, so that means you only have the week after that is what? Christmas? Please don't make me work during Christmas. Get your stuff turned in, pretty please, with sugar on top. I beg you, okay? Because otherwise, we're going to have some issues. Anyway, icebreaker. We will do an icebreaker. Where's the lie? Using the following format. What is your name? What do you teach? Name 3 things to share about yourself. As you share your information, you must lie about one of your pieces you share to the group. We must guess what you are lying about. So, my name is Ben Mall, and I teach high school emotional behavioral challenge students with special education. I've been doing that for about 22 years now. I do this particular instructor side work as a side gig to help supplement my income. I have been doing that for 6 years now with the instructor piece. No, 7 years? 7 years. Well, I've been doing it for a while. And I also do practicum supervision work for North Coast School of Education. For 3 things to share about myself, I have 2 lovely children, an 8-month-old and an 18-month-old. I'm about to move into a new house here, and I'm looking really forward to that. And then my final thing that I want to share about myself is I really like lima beans. I mean, I love it. I put lima beans on my pizza. I make lima bean mayo and put it on my sandwiches. Give me all those delicious, delicious lima beans. I tell you what. No, I am lying about the lima beans. I do not like lima beans. It is disgusting. I hate them. Blah. That's the lie. So for some people, I just did that kind of tongue in cheek. For some people, they're going to have a real hard time lying. So I'm going to allow people the chance to write down what they're going to say for a minute or two. And some people are going to want to lie and try to fake people out. Or you might be jokey about it, like I was just there about the lima beans. Totally your call on that. So that's the icebreaker that we're going to do. Going on. Some instructional routines. If we were in person, we would be doing some of these things, but we're all doing virtual learning, so we're doing some of these things. I'm not going to go too much in depth here. Here's the session objectives for this particular session. Another session objective for this particular session. Again, I'm not going to talk too much into that. What I am going to talk about is the big assignments for this class. And again, people always want to know what the big assignments are, and I'm pointing them out right here. So pay attention. So CFC Final Project is a lesson design. You will be designing a lesson that integrates an arts component that is discussed inside this class. Now, due to the brevity of this class, it may be difficult for all of you to deliver the lesson with the arts component attached. I bring this up inside this slide because technically every class that you take for ELCO here, you're supposed to be trying to deliver instruction inside your classroom based off ideas that you gather from the classes that you're going to bring back and share in the group? Well, here's the thing. Everybody here is about ready to go on Christmas vacation, right? Winter break, if you will. And everybody here is busy. And, we only have this 1 week. I see you guys on Thursday. You have the asynchronous session, and I see you guys on Thursday again, and that's it. That doesn't give you a lot of time, right? So here's the thing. If you can't, do your best to deliver the lesson with the art component to it, but don't worry too much if you can't do so, okay? If you can't do it, it's no skin off my nose. In your lesson, if there is a reflection piece, which I think there is, I can't remember in the lesson template right there, but if there is, talk about what you would expect or hope to see happen using this art component inside your lesson plan, all right? If you are able to do it with your group, great. I would love to hear how that turned out, okay? Something else to throw that to help you guys out. Additionally, you may want to pick a lesson you have already completed and attach the arts component to that lesson with a description of what you hope to achieve with this tool or strategy. If you want to make a whole new lesson with an art component attached to it that is in this class, you're welcome to do that. By all means, knock yourself out. But for some of you, I'm sure you'd be very happy to just grab an old lesson and just attach that extra little paragraph into that to save yourself some time. Feel free to do so, okay? And that is one of the things due by the second in-person class, the lesson design. The asynchronous session. So after we meet on Thursday, I will release a video on Friday that you guys will have to watch between that Friday and the Thursday of next class. I might have it out by Thursday night. We'll see where I'm at, okay? But basically, I'm going to have that video released inside that announcement session. I said I'd have this video with the asynchronous video, as well as a third video of me delivering different drama lessons for you guys to watch for tools, okay? So look for those videos in the announcement. And for the asynchronous session for this class, you must do that between the first and second week of this class. In this session, you will be introduced to multiple tools and strategies that can be used for your CFC lesson. You are to incorporate one of these tools into a lesson and give a work sample as created by you with your lesson plan. Now, that work sample that you're going to create is going to go hand in hand with another assignment here, okay? So when I say the work sample that goes with your lesson plan, we'll see in the slide where I want you to have that, but this asynchronous session, you're going to do the asynchronous session, and for credit for this session, you must complete the exit ticket at the end of the slideshow. So there's going to be a slideshow for week 2 that I have, that it's already posted on the Canvas. So you can feel free to take a look at that now if you want to. But at the end of that slideshow, there's an exit ticket. Turn in your work to participation 2 and exit ticket. So for your exit ticket, you're going to turn it into that participation session so that I have your exit ticket, right? So that's how I know you participated in the asynchronous section. Reflection and tool chosen. Additionally, you will need to complete a one-page reflection of the asynchronous session. So just to throw that out there, the asynchronous session has an exit ticket that has a quick little template there. It's about, a half page worth of work for the exit ticket. And then additionally, you have a full page reflection for these pieces, all right? I want a half a page dedicated to the California Arts Education Framework. You will be asked to take a deep dive into a chapter of this document. Read the vignettes and skim the contents for information that is pertinent to your teaching position when interested to you. I touched base about that a little earlier in this video. This will be discussed in slide 2 of the asynchronous, not slide 2, but in the slideshow for the asynchronous part. I have a slide there. You can't miss it. It'll say California Arts Education Framework. Here's the directions. Give me a half-page reflection about this piece. And then on top of that, you have a half page on what tool you are going to use to incorporate into a lesson plan. What do you hope this tool will do? Will it enhance a particular part of a lesson plan? Are you experiencing behavior in class that you hope a particular tool might help or change? Will it help you differentiate learning for students who need extra support? Think about those questions for a reflection, a half a page, on what tool you're going to use. So just to reiterate here real quick, you have the lesson that you're going to be turning in. That's one assignment. You have the asynchronous session with the exit ticket, okay, the exit ticket piece, that's a second assignment. You have the third assignment being the reflection and tool chosen, which is a full page, with a half a page being dedicated to the California Arts Education Framework and a half page being on what tool you're going to incorporate. And then your fourth main thing you're turning in, which is the artist practice piece. So this is a class about the arts. So for your final assignment, you will have to create an artist statement and complete a piece of art for this class for your own practice. That piece of art, by the way, is the art sample as created by you with your lesson plan, okay? Now, again, if you're able to do this with your students in the 1 week that we have here, and your art sample that you're given is created by your actual students, fantastic. I will happily take that. If you're not able to do that, and you're only able to do something from yourself, perfect. I will accept that as well. And just to throw this out there, that can be a lot of different things. If it's an actual piece of art that you're going to hold up to a video and say, this is what I created for class, great. If you want to deliver a monologue or a musical piece and video record yourself doing it, great, please do so. I will take that. There's lots of different things you can do this little piece of art for this class that I will accept. And we'll discuss that with all the tools and things like that inside this slideshow, as well as the slideshow for the asynchronous assignment. But we will discuss what an art statement is inside this slideshow. And for this assignment, you will create your piece of art and use the artist statement and turn it into Canvas. Also, you will be bringing your art to the final class and complete a show and tell in breakout rooms. This is your final for the class. Easy, right? Who here, if you're here taking this class on art, I would hope that you are a fan of the arts and that you actually look forward to doing some sort of performance or showing off some piece of visual art that you did with your class, and I hope you enjoy that, all right? So the artist statement, I said we talk about that a little bit. So using the tool for your CFC project, create an artist statement telling your audience what your art piece shows. So for an artist statement, is a piece of writing by you that helps the audience access or understand your artistic work. It is written in the first person, while artist bios are written in the third person. Both represent you as an artist even while you are not there. Both are not meant to come to you right away, and will take some time, revisions, and fine-tuning to have a finished written product. They may include sources, ideas, and materials in your current practice. So here's a framework or a template for you to help you in creating your artist statement. And, this artist statement is maybe a page. You can make it big, you can make it small. If it's only a half page, that's fine. But what I want you to do is I want you to describe your work. How did you create it? What is the big idea about your piece of work? What were your overall goals? What are your overall ideas? And what studio habits of mind did you use? Now, the big question you might have in reading this is, what do I mean by studio habits of mind? Well, that's one of the big pieces of this class, is talking about studio habits of mind. And we're going to get into that in the next couple of slides. So don't worry if you don't know what that means just yet, because we're going to have a lot of conversation about that. But when I think about this, let's say I made a piece of pottery. Like I did my first time ever going to a pottery class, and I decided I wanted to make a clay pot. Well, if I was to describe my work, I would say I made this clay pot. It's the first time I ever did a piece of pottery, and I thought it was kind of neat. How did I create it? I created it on a spindle with water and clay, and I made a big mess, and I had a fun time doing it. What was my big idea was that I wanted to give my wife a nice present for just out of the blue, you know. And what were my goals? I was hoping that she might use this piece of pottery to keep flowers in on our table. And my overall ideas about it, I don't know. I added some color to it and maybe put some flower. So, you know, these are the ideas I would think. These are the kind of things I would expect to see inside an artist's statement framework. Pretty easy, pretty self explanatory, but it's to help convey what you're trying to express to everybody in the class about what you're doing, why, and how it affects others or yourself. So that's basically what we're looking at. And look at this. In the very next slide, we get into the studio habits of mind. So studio thinking is a framework designed by practitioners at Project Zero, which is the research arm of Harvard School of Education. One of the studio thinking framework comes the studio out of the studio thinking framework comes the studio habits of mind, a set of 8 dispositions that an artist uses. The wonderful thing about these dispositions is that they offer a language for critical thinking that spans across every discipline. These empower students to articulate their learning in any subject matter and provide an entry point for learning based on individual choice and need. They are not hierarchical, and they can be used in guided instruction or constructivist teaching modalities. And something to throw out there is that, yes, there are links here in regards to this slideshow. And, one of the websites is broken. That's unfortunate. But here is the Arts Education in California County Superintendent Arts Initiative. So which one was this? Oh, I should have just brought it over here. Was it Project Zero? Oh, that's the one that's broken. That is unfortunate. I hope they didn't go out of business. But here's this. This is the California Studio Habits of Mind, blah, blah, blah. I'm thrown for a little bit of a loop here. But, you know, a nice little website talking about the arts in California, vision, core principles, so on and so forth, if anybody wants to look into that. This also, by the way, the Studio Habits of Mind goes hand in hand with the book that was originally intended for this class. If we were meeting for all 5 weeks, I would have asked you guys to get the books, but since it's only for a week, we're not worried about the book, especially since the big pieces about the book are the Studio Habits of Mind, okay? And these Studio Habits of Mind, what are they? They are different ideas and things that artists use in order to create and explain their visions to the people that they are working with. So, Studio Habits of Mind, the first one is a lot of artists like to stretch and explore. They push themselves to play, they try new things, they take risks, and let themselves make mistakes so they can learn from them. So, vocabulary that goes hand in hand with this are try, push, experiment, play, opportunity, unplanned, spontaneity, all these different things. And then there's simple questions to ask yourself and others. What encouraged you to take this risk? What did you learn from your experiments? What solutions did you come up with to solve your problem? Did trying something new influence your art? And as you read these, if you've taken any of my classes, or I would hope that if you've taken any other classes around Lake County, one of the big things we're trying to get our students to do is increase their abilities in risk and resilience. And through the arts, we hope to have students take more chances and to explore more in the thinking of themselves and their own education. So these studio habits of mind directly reflect upon those particular ideas that we see inside of previous classes and trying to get our students to take chances and trying to have our students take risk and to increase their ability to be resilient in the work that they do, as envisioned by these studio habits of mind. We hope students will envision that they will use their minds and imagination to create new art and plan out steps that they will take to bring out more work in their life. So trying to inspire others or themselves, visualize their ideas, what steps they're taking to plan out their work. And words that go along with this is imagine, invent, create, visualize, think, plan, all these different things. We hope they engage and persist to continue to work on personally meaningful projects that stick with them, even when they're having difficulty or feeling frustrated. Again, this goes into ideas of risk and resilience, and this also goes into ideas of trying and doing it multiple times, even if they don't feel like they got it right the first time. They are constantly struggling or committing themselves to persevere and value the work that they do. So we want our students to reflect. They discuss their work and process with their peers to share ideas with their community. They process, they examine, they think, they observe, they talk, they converse, they work with one another. Who did you make this work for? How do you feel about the work? Why? To be retrospective and to want to share with others is another big thing that we want our students to be able to do. We want them to be able to develop their craft, to learn about and practice new media, skills, or techniques that they use in their art making, to take care of their tools, material, to take pride in their work and what they do inside their studios. They want to expand. They want to grow. They want to hone and broaden and approach the procedures of their work. What new skills did they learn? We want them to be observing, to take close look and notice things in their world and other art that they can use inside their own work. We want our students to be able to spot or understand context, to question the things around them, to look at things from different viewpoints. What did you look for at the art for inspiration? Why did you want to draw attention to this? Another one of the, so all of these are all the studio habits of mind, right? We want them to understand the art world. We want them to express themselves. And though I'm speeding up a little bit because I'm kind of losing steam here a little bit, but these are the 8 studio habits of mind that we want our students to work on inside the classroom that go directly with ideas of risk and resilience, of taking chances, of working well with others, and developing their craft and getting ideas of practicing and knowing that it's not always about doing it the first time. It's about constant resilience and to be able to express themselves in healthy ways. These are all things we want for our students, and the arts can help them in doing this. All right, so in the earlier part of the slideshow, I said that I want you guys to pick a strategy or a tool to use inside your lesson plans. Well, here's one of the first tools you can use for these lesson plans, and they're called thinking routines. A thinking routine is a set of questions or a brief sequence of steps used to scaffold and support student thinking. So I'm going to open these links in some new tabs here because I have some tools for you here. Hopefully the links aren't broken, but here's one of the first websites here, Think from the Middle, and it's got a bunch of different little tools that you can use inside your class. I mean, right here, strategy toolbox. Look at that. Some strategies for visible thinking, formative assessment, metacognition, discourse, comprehension. You might want to use one of these tools inside your class, and it gives you just different ideas like gallery walks, note taking, talking to the text right there for metacognition strategies, some discourse strategies here, consensus circle, ABC taxonomy. I'm not going to dive too much. You're welcome to look at this on your own free time. But these are all different strategies to use inside your classroom for different ideas for working with others in this case, or expanding your mind, or assessing others, or comprehension strategies. It's a great little site here. So if you want to steal some tools from here, please do so. PZ, Project Circle, Zero, PZ's Thinking Routines Toolbox. Again, got multiple different things here that you can use for your tools. Take a look at perspective taking here real quick. Look at this. You got all these different things you can use inside your classroom for different things. So for this one, let's see here, circle of viewpoints. They got even elementary school, middle school, high school is recommended for these learners, 1 hour. And then here's the download for it, circle of viewpoints, different things you can have. for your classroom right here in these simple little websites that you can use to pull up for thinking routines. And I'm going to plop that one away. So this one's another great one. I've used this one before. So the big thing for this is with this particular slideshow, if you want to have some tools, bam, right there. You can use any of the tools put in any of these particular websites, and I would love to see that being used. So again, a thinking routine is a set of questions or a brief sequence of steps used to scaffold and support student thinking. So it's a quick little 5 to 10 minute process you can do inside your classroom before you start a lesson. That's a great way to do it. Visual thinking strategies transforms the way students think and learn by providing training and curriculum for people to facilitate discussions of visual art that significantly increases student engagement, performance, and enjoyment of learning. I'm just going to pull those particular websites out here. So let's pull those up. And for this one, this is, what's going on in this picture? Well, we got it looks like 5 women playing music. What time period is this? Is this I kind of think of feudal Japan when I kind of see that. Might be wrong, but it's kind of what it looks like to me. And, they seem to be having a fun time. They're relaxing, That's what I think of when I see this picture. And that's what, a lot of kids, we're trying to have them see pictures and create stories from these things. So when we're talking about visual thinking strategies, this is a handout, but it's an inquiry-based teaching strategy for all grade levels. You don't need any sort of special art training to use the strategy. The goal of visual thinking strategies is not to teach the history of a work of art, but rather to encourage students to observe independently and to back up their comments with evidence. Well, if I go back to this and I said, I feel like this is a bunch of women from feudal Japan, what would make me say that? Well, it has that kind of quality of etherealness that I've seen from previous paintings from Japan before. Or I think of waves kind of crashing. The hair looks kind of wavy and gives me that kind of thought. The musical harp here has intricate patterns. It kind of makes me think of that. I might be very wrong with that when I say that. This could be definitely a different period piece, but that's what I think of when I see this. So I brought up ideas about why I thought that. It might not be right, but it's not about whether it's right or wrong. It's how we encourage students to observe independently and back up their comments with evidence. So I brought some evidence about why I thought those things were. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to have people understand, appreciate, and back up what their thoughts are by giving good academic vocabulary to talk about these things, right? So some tips here during discussion: link responses together, compare and contrast what other students have said. Avoid inserting your own information. Let people learn from their mistakes. Allow the conversation to go where it will, even if it gets off topic. And at the end of the conversation, continue with your lesson, linking the content with comments that students make. If you've ever seen a history book, they'll have pictures of different events that have happened in the history. And sometimes in the books, they'll say, this is a picture of George Washington crossing Valley Forge. And I'll show you George Washington with his soldiers bravely crossing the Valley Forge. What was being said in that piece? That George Washington was a brave man? Yes, he was. Was the soldiers dying at the time while they were crossing over this sub-zero degree temperature river? Yes, they were. Smallpox was all over the place. But it wasn't shown in that. It was in that particular famous art piece. It was shown him bravely crossing because American freedom and things like that, right? So those kind of aspects get brought up in our visual thinking strategies as well when we talk about these kind of things. The other link was this to the Museum of Modern Art collection, where you'll see a lot of different videos that you can use inside your classroom, or pictures of different pieces of artwork if you wanted to show that to students as well. This particular person is Louise Nevelson, Big Black. There is a video that usually is shown with these pieces as well, with all the exhibitions and your visiting pieces and whatnot. Again, I'm not going to show videos in this video because guess what? YouTube likes to throttle those. This little piece by a person named Bet Sayer uh, shows two people, I think, those look like people, right? Looking at opposite directions. What's happening in this piece? And if we're in the class, I'm going to ask people to write down their thoughts and ideas about what they think this piece is about, and then to share it out. I'm going to call on like 4 or 5 people to share what they think they're seeing, why, and how to back that up. There's no right or wrong answer. This is just us appreciating a piece of work and trying to do a VTS strategy. Thinking routines. See, think, wonder. So visual arts, a lot of it is what do you see? What you think is going on? And what does it make you wonder? So I'm going to click on these particular links here real quick because I want to refresh myself as to what these are. See, think, wonder. I'm wondering if it's all the same thing. Kind of. But it does lead you to this nice little download that you can use with your students and have them do some visible strategies with them. So you can have students look at some art. What do they see? What do they think? What do they wonder? And with the C piece here, that's literal. What do you see in this piece of art? Well, I see what appears to be two people looking in the opposite directions. Well, that's literally what's happening here by the looks of it. It looks like we're seeing more of a skeletal structure with one of the people, while the other one has kind of maybe a weird flapper quality vibe. That's what I see, literally, and my take on it. If I wanted to, I could say one half of this is dark black, while another part of it is chalky white. That would be something there to throw out there. So what do you think it's about? What do you wonder about it? So we want our students to have access to these things and to think about them and to express their ideas and to dive deep into it. So that's what this is about. Another piece of art here by Louise Nevelson. What are we seeing here? What's happening here? And another video here. This is going to be about Sarah Z. Again, I'm not going to click on these videos, but we'll be showing this inside the classroom. And what do we notice about this? And when we go into the class, I'm going to have people do breakout rooms for this little bit. Okay, these are assemblage artists. Louise Nevelson, Bet Sayer, Nevelson Assemblage. Okay, that's their names. And I'm going to click on that. So for like this guy, this is Louise Nevelson. Assemblage art, okay, is what we're talking about. What assemblage art is, and I should probably pull that up real quick here so I'm not screwing up exactly what it is. It's another video. Again, I'm not showing the videos, but assemblage art, okay, is art like this that is found, okay? It's the art of that people show and create from found pieces, right? And they create these excellent pieces of artwork. Like this thing is, if I remember correctly, is about 30 feet in height and 40 feet wide or something like that. This is a huge piece. And it's all found stuff, junk, that this person grabbed off the streets and created a really interesting, vivid piece of artwork from. So when we talk about assemblage art, we're talking about people who find art. They find pieces that they create art out of. And that's what's happening here. We're going to do breakout groups with these people to take a deeper dive into it. So I'll have one group doing this little part, another group doing this part, this group doing this part, to take a deeper dive into that and take like 10 minutes to come back and share what was found there. One thing to throw out there is poverty-informed reflection. When practicing any arts activity or asking students to bring materials, remember to have an amount of materials already in class for those who might not have a shoebox or cannot ask their households to support the project. Never assume all students are able to bring in materials. We're always trying to stay poverty or trauma informed in what we're doing inside our classrooms. So just to throw that piece out here. And then finally, this little particular slide has a bunch of resources that we have here that go hand in hand with what we were discussed. And then next steps. Think about when you're going to sit down and complete the slideshow for the asynchronous session for week 2 of the class. Pick a tool or strategy from week 1 or 2 that you're going to incorporate into a lesson plan. And then prepare your art piece and create your artist statement that you're going to share with the class for the last week. Bring a copy of your lesson plan as well. And that will be the end of the first week of class. And I think that's probably going to take a good 2 hours, maybe to 2.5 hours even. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that first video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.